At what point does the brand step in and go, right, we're opening a lawsuit against you because of you've said that this brand...
Matt Armstrong's battle with Bugatti goes beyond repairs, exposing a deeper clash over control, secrecy, and innovation. Now, with McLaren and Koenigsegg reportedly supporting him behind the scenes, the fight could send shockwaves through the hypercar industry. Can one mechanic truly disrupt a billion-dollar empire? And why are two legendary automakers helping tip the balance? This rebellion is only beginning. The battle begins. Matt Armstrong's battle with Bugatti didn't happen overnight. It was the culmination of a relentless drive to challenge one of the automotive world's most secretive giants. When a Bugatti Chiron Sport crashed hard in Miami, the car was written off, declared a total loss by insurance, and auctioned off to the public. For most, that was the end of the story. But for Matt Armstrong, known for taking on supercar rebuilds others wouldn't touch, this was the opening salvo in what would become an unprecedented confrontation. The Chiron Sport isn't just any car, it's a masterpiece of engineering. With a quad-turbocharged W16 engine and a hand-assembled carbon fiber chassis, Bugatti makes it clear that such a complex machine requires factory-level intervention. But Armstrong wasn't deterred by this exclusivity or the daunting reputation of the car. His history of rebuilding wrecked Ferraris, Aston Martins, and other high-end vehicles gave him confidence that this challenge was possible, even if Bugatti's gates were firmly shut. Armstrong quickly acquired the crashed Bugatti and began stripping it apart for a deep investigation. His intention was clear: prove that no manufacturer should monopolize repairs and that passion and expertise could overcome corporate barriers. But as he unpacked the layers of damage, shattered airbags, broken carbon fiber components, destroyed radiators, the task ahead seemed overwhelming. The car's rebuild was fraught, not just with mechanical hurdles, but with legal and logistical obstacles. Even before the first bolt was fully removed, Armstrong was met with resistance. Bugatti's silence was deafening, and word spread that the brand would not support or sell parts for this seemingly untouchable car. Yet Armstrong knew that success would come not by waiting for permission, but by forging ahead, armed with skill and an unshakable belief in the right to repair. His growing audience rallied behind him, hungry for a David versus Goliath narrative unfolding in real time. As Armstrong's videos amassed millions of views, supercar fans saw more than just a rebuild. They witnessed a symbolic fight against an industry gatekeeping its secrets. Bugatti's reputation as the pinnacle of speed and luxury suddenly faced public scrutiny. Could a YouTuber really chip away at that fortress? What began as a personal project transformed into a challenge that questioned the very control manufacturers held over their creations. Armstrong's tenacity also stirred the curiosity of other key players in the hypercar world. McLaren and Koenigsegg, known for their cutting-edge engineering and industry savvy, were reportedly watching from a distance, intrigued by what this mechanic was attempting. Their silent interest suggested that this conflict might have broader implications for the balance of power in the supercar market. So, the battle was not just about fixing a car, it was about representation, authority, and who gets to define what's possible. Armstrong's determination polarized opinions, but also forced the automotive industry to reckon with a new reality. One where independent creators had platforms and influence to challenge established norms. The stakes had never been higher, and the brakes were off. But before the rebuild could advance, another formidable barrier loomed, an invisible blockade that would soon transform the fight into a full-scale war. Corporate gatekeeping and VIN-lock. Bugatti's response to Armstrong's rebuild attempt was swift, but hardly public. Behind closed doors, the brand enforced one of the most severe restrictions the automotive world has seen: a locked vehicle identification number, or VIN, that effectively prevented Armstrong from buying official parts. This lock meant no authorized dealer anywhere in the world could sell a replacement part for the crashed Chiron. Radiators, headlights, airbags, everything was off-limits. This level of control is not unusual for hypercar manufacturers, but the rigidity shocked many. By blacklisting the car's VIN, Bugatti sent a strong message about their commitment to safeguarding the integrity and safety of their vehicles. On paper, it was a protective measure aimed at preventing unqualified repairs that could endanger drivers, given the Chiron's 261 miles per hour top speed and sensitive carbon fiber monocoque chassis. For Armstrong, though, the VIN lock was an existential challenge. Without access to the parts supply chain, rebuilding the car could mean fabricating components from scratch or finding unorthodox substitutes. Either way, the locked VIN choked the usual repair pathways and forced Armstrong to rethink the project's feasibility. This blockade was a demonstration of how corporate power could constrain individual ingenuity. At the same time, Bugatti's silence fed the narrative that they saw Armstrong not as a genuine mechanic, but as a meddler threatening brand control. Rumors circulated of approaching lawsuits and severe repercussions, yet Bugatti maintained an official quiet stance. This silence further fueled the dramatic tension. Armstrong's online audience began to see the brand not just as a luxury automaker, but as a gatekeeper intent on shutting down independent efforts. But Armstrong was no stranger to this kind of resistance. He had openly criticized Ferrari in earlier videos for their proprietary parts and secretive repair manuals. That earlier experience made him more determined rather than intimidated. He leaned into the challenge, publicly calling out Bugatti's policies and framing the issue as a fight for the right to repair and the larger right to access automotive knowledge. This standoff became a wider conversation about ownership and responsibility. Was Bugatti protecting its customers or simply staking an unchallengeable claim to its technological artistry? For many enthusiasts, the brand's rigid approach seemed out of touch with a world moving toward openness and collaboration in automotive culture. Despite the official barriers, murmurs emerged that rivals McLaren and Koenigsegg were intrigued by Armstrong's boldness. While they remained silent publicly, reports hinted they were quietly backing the mechanic's efforts, possibly seeing a chance to undermine a dominant competitor. What Bugatti saw as a necessary defense, others saw as a self-imposed cage. The VIN lock raised questions about the future of hypercar repair and ownership, and whether independent creators might rewrite the rules. Armstrong's battle now demanded more than mechanical skill. It required outsmarting a fortress of corporate restrictions to prove that passion and creativity could break through. The challenge may have been monumental, but Armstrong wasn't done proving why he was the man for the job. Armstrong's engineering breakthroughs. Facing the complete denial of official parts, Matt Armstrong turned adversity into opportunity by adopting inventive methods that blurred lines between brands and redefined repair ingenuity. Where most would surrender to the locked VIN and proprietary barriers, Armstrong applied out-of-the-box thinking, fabricating custom radiators and welding the gearbox mount back together while using parts from unexpected sources. One of his most notable innovations was discovering that certain components from Audi, part of the same Volkswagen Group ecosystem as Bugatti, could be adapted successfully for the Chiron. For instance, Armstrong found the airbags from an Audi A3 were nearly identical in fit and function to those required by the Chiron Pure Sport. This unexpected compatibility wasn't a hack. It was a calculated realization that shared engineering across brands could be exploited to overcome corporate walls. Armstrong's team also designed and built bespoke radiators to replace the 10 complex cooling units destroyed in the crash. These radiators weren't off the shelf. They required exacting craftsmanship and engineering knowledge to fit and perform within one of the most advanced engine cooling systems ever put in a road car. Each step was a testament to his team's dedication and technical skill. When confronted with a pinched coolant overflow pipe and no official replacement, Armstrong creatively used a section of rigid brake hose as a substitute, another example of practical engineering driven by necessity. These fixes were pragmatic and effective, even if not factory approved. One of the most dramatic moments came when Armstrong successfully separated the front and rear halves of the Chiron, a procedure Bugatti claimed only their factory in Molsheim could safely perform. Achieving this feat not only allowed access to damaged areas, but sent a clear message. The barriers Bugatti set might not be as absolute as they claimed. The crescendo was when Armstrong fired up the W16 engine after reassembling the car, reviving a machine that was declared beyond repair. This was more than a mechanical success. It was symbolic vindication. The car wasn't just moving, it was alive and functional, challenging the assumptions surrounding exclusivity and repair access. Armstrong's breakthroughs attracted millions of views and significant media attention, turning a personal project into a broader movement questioning hypercar manufacturer policies. His engineering creativity sparked admiration from enthusiasts and respect from industry insiders, even rival brands. This wave of innovation and exposure pushed the conflict beyond a single rebuild. It raised profound questions about who owns these machines and who gets to fix them. Armstrong's story had become a catalyst for change, setting the stage for new alliances and rivalries in the hypercar world, where tradition meets disruption. With the battle lines drawn and Armstrong's ingenuity undeniable, new players were about to enter the fray, amplifying the stakes of this unexpected war. The McLaren and Koenigsegg connection. As Matt Armstrong's rebuild gained traction, whispers grew louder about unexpected allies joining his cause behind the scenes. McLaren and Koenigsegg, two of the automotive industry's most respected and innovative hypercar manufacturers, reportedly began providing support to Armstrong's fight against Bugatti's ironclad restrictions. This behind-the-scenes involvement added a new layer of complexity and intrigue to what was initially a solo battle. Both McLaren and Koenigsegg share a reputation for pushing engineering boundaries and embracing innovation. McLaren's mastery in blending lightweight materials with cutting-edge technology, and Koenigsegg's pioneering carbon fiber innovations and lightning-fast transmissions gave them a vested interest in the mechanics and philosophies challenging Bugatti's traditional approach. Their support wasn't just about rivalry, it was about staking a claim in the future of hypercar culture. Observers suspected that McLaren and Koenigsegg saw Armstrong's crusade as a crack in Bugatti's armor, a chance to disrupt the status quo and perhaps shift the competitive balance. The rumor mill painted a dramatic picture, these hypercar titans quietly fueling a YouTuber's bold defiance, amplifying his efforts with engineering knowledge, parts, or technical advice. That kind of backing turned Armstrong's project from a fringe endeavor into a full-blown industry spectacle. This alliance highlighted a realignment in hypercar dynamics. Bugatti, known for an exclusive club-like control over its repair ecosystem, suddenly faced a coalition that challenged both its secrecy and its supremacy. McLaren and Koenigsegg stepping into this narrative symbolized more than just brand politics. They represented the power of collaboration and open innovation in a field often shrouded in secrecy. For Armstrong, the support from these giants was an endorsement of his vision and capability. It empowered him to tackle the unthinkable, not only rebuilding the $4 million Bugatti, but doing so without official sanction or parts. The legend of impossible to fix was being rewritten by a growing alliance of disruptors that valued skill and transparency over tradition and gatekeeping. Though official confirmations were scarce, insiders suggested that Koenigsegg's CEO, Christian von Koenigsegg, and McLaren's leadership were closely monitoring and perhaps even influencing key moments. This could involve sharing insights on lightweight materials, assembling complex powertrains, or advising on high-performance tuning. Whatever the extent, the energy of collaboration was unmistakable. The hypercar world, long governed by unwritten rules favoring exclusivity, found itself challenged by a new type of player, a YouTuber backed by the very innovators who built tomorrow's fastest cars. This emerging trio sent ripples throughout forums, social media, and industry insiders, changing how enthusiasts viewed both the cars and the companies behind them. As this unexpected alliance solidified, Bugatti's next moves would reveal whether it could defend its legacy or would be forced into an uneasy reckoning with a rapidly evolving industry landscape. The stage was set not just for a personal repair battle, but for a power play redefining the rules of hypercar ownership and repair. Bugatti's response and Rimac's intervention. Confronted with mounting public scrutiny and a YouTuber seemingly unstoppable with newfound backing, Bugatti was forced to respond beyond silence. Mate Rimac, CEO of Bugatti Rimac since 2021, stepped into the spotlight with a carefully measured but firm public statement. In an Instagram video, Rimac acknowledged Armstrong's ingenuity and the impressive progress he'd made, but also underscored the fundamental safety and engineering concerns that justify Bugatti's stringent repair policies. Rimac emphasized that while Armstrong's improvised solutions, like using compatible Audi parts, were clever, they were not a sustainable or safe approach for long-term use. The structural integrity and performance of a hypercar like the Chiron depend on exact specifications, and replacing critical components with mismatched spares, even from brands within the Volkswagen Group, could pose serious risks to safety at extreme speeds. Rimac's message walked a tightrope between respect for Armstrong's effort and a reminder of factory-level standards. Moreover, Rimac addressed the technical challenges, such as the necessity to split the Chiron's chassis in half, a process Bugatti claimed could only be safely done at their authorized facilities. This admission lent weight to Armstrong's achievement when he successfully executed the separation independently, further fueling admiration while maintaining a cautionary stance on replicating such feats elsewhere. The public conversation shifted from a behind-the-scenes clash to an open debate about transparency, repair rights, and brand responsibility. Rimac's intervention signaled that Bugatti was no longer ignoring Armstrong's challenge, but engaging it with clear parameters. His approach was calculated, defending the brand's reputation without alienating the automotive community, increasingly sympathetic to Armstrong. While Bugatti voiced concerns about safety and proprietary knowledge, the reality was that the narrative had already changed. Social media was ablaze with videos and comments celebrating Armstrong's progress and questioning the fairness of Bugatti's gatekeeping. The balance of power was tipping from corporate exclusivity toward a more participatory automotive culture, where content creators wield significant influence. In parallel, rumors intensified that Bugatti was reluctantly relaxing some restrictions, quietly allowing certain parts to be purchased through select channels, signaling a subtle shift in their defensive stance. Whether this was a tactical concession or a genuine concession to market reality remained unclear, but it hinted at the company's recognition that Armstrong's story had reshaped public perception. The drama heightened as Armstrong prepared to fire up the W16 engine, the moment anticipated to symbolize either ultimate triumph or humbling defeat. When the engine roared to life under his watch, it became a pivotal moment that confirmed the rebuild's legitimacy and challenged Bugatti's long-held monopolies. This unfolding saga, now marked by Rimac's voice, captured the world's imagination, a high-stakes drama where innovation, tradition, and rebellious spirit collided with no clear winner yet in sight. What began as a personal challenge had grown into a flashpoint defining the future of hypercar culture, forcing all players to reconsider their roles in this new, dynamic landscape. The future of hypercar rivalries. The showdown between Matt Armstrong and Bugatti has already reshaped how we think about hypercars, but it also marks a deeper transformation in the automotive world's power dynamics. What began as a rebellious mechanic challenging a corporate giant has evolved into a symbol of shifting authority, from locked factory doors to open collaboration. The involvement of McLaren and Koenigsegg shows that this isn't simply about one car. It's about the future of how these machines are built, repaired, and experienced. This new era blurs the lines between manufacturers and independent creators, as the influence of passionate individuals with global audiences grows. Armstrong's story highlights a rising culture that values transparency, ingenuity, and accessibility. Brands that once protected their secrets fiercely now face the reality of an empowered community, eager to learn, innovate, and sometimes disrupt. This tension between tradition and openness will be central to hypercar culture moving forward. Bugatti's challenge is clear: how to maintain the extreme precision, safety, and exclusivity that defines their brand, while adapting to a world where repair and customization are no longer confined within factory walls. Mate Rimax's engagement signifies a cautious embracing of these new dynamics. He recognizes that evolving customer expectations and digital influence demand more connection and transparency. These shifts may force brands to reconsider their approach to control and collaboration. Meanwhile, McLaren and Koenigsegg's quiet support of Armstrong underscores a broader strategic move within the hypercar industry. Both companies are known for pushing boundaries and embracing innovation not just in cars, but in how they engage enthusiasts and adapt to change. Supporting a disruptor like Armstrong could signal their intent to redefine competitive advantage through openness and co-creation, rather than closed-door exclusivity. The ripple effects of this confrontation are already being felt. Discussions around right to repair, parts availability, and independent servicing have moved from niche forums to mainstream conversations. Enthusiasts and owners may soon expect greater freedom and transparency, demanding that hypercar brands evolve or risk losing loyalty. The balance of power between manufacturers and audiences is shifting, and Armstrong's battle symbolizes that shift vividly. Yet, the story is far from over. Bugatti, armed with Rimax's leadership and a legacy of engineering mastery, will adapt in ways that are yet to be seen. Armstrong's victories provoke questions about how far independent builders can push and where lines will be redrawn. It's a high-stakes game in an industry where precision, innovation, and reputation are all intertwined. The future of hypercar rivalries will likely be fought on multiple fronts, from factory floors and social media channels to engineering breakthroughs and brand narratives. Armstrong's challenge has ignited a broader conversation about who owns these machines and who gets to shape their stories. This new chapter embraces collaboration, competition, and a reimagined relationship between makers, mechanics, and fans. Matt Armstrong's fight with Bugatti, backed by McLaren and Koenigsegg, has cracked open the hypercar world like never before. This isn't just a rebuild, it's a revolution in how cars, power, and passion collide. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay tuned for how this epic saga continues. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.